Hello and welcome back to my series in Factorio in which I am attempting to build my very first mega factory. My name is Azrael. Come along with me as we continue our adventure. First thing we wanted to do is let the bots finish putting down all the inserters that it didn't quite get down over here. Realized that there was a whole lot of throughput that just wasn't there because of that. Alright, I'm going to be moving this line up a little bit more so that I can separate the input and the output from the new and improved circuit factory. And of course that does mean getting rid of this line, or at least moving it a little bit, because there is still all of that, all of those circuits occupying it. I'm just going to go ahead and get some of these things out of the way, put down some lights so we can see what we're doing. And I need to make some more room in my inventory. I'm just going to get rid of some of those plates. And I'm going to go over here and fix my little combinator fiasco. I found out what the problem was, is that if either of those situations were true, it would output a 1 on the Z signal, or Z signal if you're one of those people. But if they were both true at the same time, it was actually adding that value together to make it 2 on the Z signal instead of just 1. And the power switch, of course, was only operating if it equals 1 and only 1. So I just went ahead and changed it to be anything that's greater than 0. And so now, if both the conditions for that set of combinators happens to be true, it will activate the power switch, and that will allow the cracking plants to operate. And I have to apologize, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so my voice might seem a little more harsh, my brain might be a little more scattered than usual. Almost got hit by the train there. So I'm going to try to plod through on this, though. Right now, I'm just going through all of my mining facilities to try to clean them up a little bit. Get rid of all of the mining drills that have run out of ore to mine. And I also notice all these turrets down here were completely out of ammunition. That could have been a major disaster if I had let that go any farther, or further, I guess would be the appropriate word. Just want to make sure that everything's got ammunition in it now so that it can repel any future attacks. And I'm going to plonk down some more mining drills over here so that it can make up for the lost output. But I'm quickly running out of space over here, so it's going to kind of be a tight squeeze from this point forward. I'm going to have to scout out a new copper mine soon in the future, but I do have my eye on that one that's just south of my solar array. So I'll probably be getting to that in the next episode or so. And I'm going to head over to my iron mine. Over here, things look like they're going along pretty well. None of the mining drills have run out yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and do some slight maintenance to these. And then obviously put down some more lights along the main rail lines. I'm going to head up here into my old iron mine, where there's several more drills that have run out. I'm going to go ahead and clean up what I can over here. This mine is starting to run out a little bit. I'm going to have to do something about all of that soon. Right now I'm just making sure that it's still achieving maximum throughput for the drills that are there. I'm going to put down a few more over here. Yeah, there's not a whole lot for them to do over there, but it's better than nothing. Move this up a little bit so that I can put down a few more right there. And that should do it. I mean, we're not seriously hurting on iron and copper input at the moment, so I'm not going to worry too much. I'm going to come over here to my oil field, and surprisingly, none of those turrets have actually fired recently, at least not to the where they've eliminated a unit of ammunition yet. So that's a little strange, actually, because those pump jack put out a lot of pollution, so I would imagine that they'd be a primary target for the biters out there. But I guess I shouldn't jinx it too much. So over here in one of my other oil fields, I'm just rearranging the power poles a little bit so that It's a little more efficient. And then I noticed that this wasn't actually even connected for the time being, so went ahead and put down that one extra pipe section. Everything over there looks like it's running pretty good. Alright, I'm going to head back over here to the new circuit production area. I'm going to remove some of those power station, the substations, and this old circuit line that's just not being used anymore. And obviously I'm not using a whole lot of circuits in the factory, otherwise that line would have been completely empty by now. But oh well, it's all going to be fixed up here in the near future. As soon as I can get this production facility up and running the way it should be, we're going to eventually move on to a module factory, and that's going to eat up the circuit production pretty well, because those those do take a ton. Both the green and red circuits, and in fact the blue circuits for the level 2 and 3 modules. I'm going to move my my iron input up a little bit so that I have enough room between it and the copper line that's going to feed over into the main area of the factory, because that will eventually be bolstered up to 4 lines. Right over here, I'm going to go ahead and set up the new advanced circuit production area. I'm going to do this all by hand because the the layout that I have over here isn't quite how I want it to be. I'm just going to need a whole bunch more express belts, but I am going to have to move this plastic line all the way over there into the new the production facility. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I went ahead and crippled the input on the existing advanced circuit line, just so that it would stop producing circuits over there eventually, because I want it to all be done over here now. And I'm just going to go ahead and hook up all the belts, get everything over there feeding the way it should. There we go. That's just going to connect right over there. For the time being, I was actually considering if I could move the existing lines over somehow, but it's going to be more trouble than it's worth, so I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go ahead and set up all the inserters over here now. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to do my my copper cable line, and then of course the output for the red circuits. And I figure I'm just going to go ahead and have them empty out over here to the right, instead of trying to join an imaginary output bus over here on the in the circuit production area. Because this is pretty much as wide as my red circuit facility is going to be anywhere. And it'll be a bit of a modular setup in that I could just duplicate these farther north if I need them. So I want to get all of that taken from the same line and then outputting to the same line. That assembler can be moved down by 1. That way I can use the fast inserters and not the long inserters. I'm going to slightly rearrange this input belt so that it's a little more efficient. And once again, I am out of the underground express belts, so I'm going to have to go back over into the main factory to get all this figured out soon. And bring up the copper line so that it can feed the second copper cable assembler. And other than that one underground belt and some power, oh yeah, and some inserters as well, this is just about ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and take out some of the belts over here, just because they're no longer necessary. And that reminds me that I do need to get some more express belts as well. I'm getting very low. And just pick up some of those and then head back over. Alright, that takes care of that. Now I just need to power it up. Oh yeah, I'm going to put down the inserters here again. Now it's time to power everything up, and when I first go through here, get this research out of my way, Yeah, I want to start heading for that for the rocket technologies. But I have second thoughts about that and think maybe I should just do this with substations instead. It seems like a reasonably good idea here. And cover the entire thing with two substations, or four substations, two on each side, of course. And get everything powered up there. There it goes. And at first it looks like the copper production is not reaching the end of the line, but you just got to give it some time, and it will eventually filter down there. And yeah, the math is all very secure on that. Is that one copper cable assembler can feed up to 8 of the advanced circuit assemblers. First, I think maybe a pair of inserters will help get them out a little bit quicker, but it's just not seem. It doesn't seem to be helping very much because those inserters do have a stack bonus, so it's kind of rendering the whole thing pointless. So I'll just go ahead and let that run on its own. In the meantime, I'm going to disassemble the existing facility. Be sure to get some power up there so that the blue circuit line can continue. Alright, just letting all that disassemble. I'm going to bring the output down here closer to the green circuit bus. And can finally get rid of that line right there. And move a power pole out of my way. Alright, get this water pipe a little bit farther south, and then I can go ahead and join this up. Alright, there we go. I wanna also do a belt balancer here, just for the meantime at least. Alright, I gotta make some more room in my inventory. I've pulled up a whole bunch of yellow belts, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to fit those in wherever they can over here in the belt production area. And as well as getting some of the iron plates out of my inventory. I just don't need as many as I had. Alright. Yeah, it's more research. Almost there. As you may have noticed, I'm also crafting up some more science labs in my inventory. As I'm going to be taking care of that soon, because right now I only have 8 science labs working on anything, and enough production to fill more like 20. I'm not quite sure of the exact amount, but more than I'm using, and that's, you know, as sufficiently as it needs to be said. So I'm going to go over here and place those down. And then get everything fed in with the inserters. There's still not quite some power on the north side there. Gonna have to disrupt power for the whole area. There we go. Everything's working. Now my research should be happening at twice the speed, which is an awesome thing. Alright, now I'm just checking to see if everything's working. Everything does appear to be working. I'm trying to keep the green circuit production on the left side of that facility and the advanced circuits on the right. Hopefully that'll work out. I still don't quite know what I'm going to do with the blue circuit production, because that will eventually be moved over there, just to have everything nice and in the same area. But for right now, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to craft up some electric furnaces in my inventory just because I want to get one more line of copper plates being produced over here. One more dual column of 16 each. I've done some research into this, and it turns out that 16 furnaces per side, so 32 altogether, outputting to one belt, is still not quite fast enough to fill a blue belt, to be fully saturated, as they say. The real number would be close to about 40, maybe 30 to 40% more than that. But I'm not going to worry too much about that, because eventually the whole thing will be augmented with some speed modules and some beacons, most likely. and some efficiency modules in the furnaces themselves. But for right now, of course, I can't do much of that. I'm just gonna uh, rearrange some items over here, get some stuff out of my junk boxes, and to help fill up those output boxes for the belt production area. Add an extra signal down there so that it can read things a little bit better. I need to pick up some more stone bricks and then craft up some more furnaces because I'll eventually be doing the same thing over on the iron plate production side. But it's not something I'll get around to in this episode. It'll probably be the next one or two. I know I say that a lot, but that's just kind of the way it's going to be. In the meantime, I'm also going to upgrade this copper ore bus up to express belt capacity. I've also found out that those extra splitters on the end of my 4-lane belt balancer ultimately are not necessary. Right there is plenty. Get all of those belts upgraded as well. And that should be good. Now we've got the output over there. Gonna go ahead and connect it back into the main line for the rest of the facility. I'm gonna have 2 dedicated copper lines heading up into my circuit production because that's what uses the vast majority of copper plates is just various circuit production. And I'm got more inventory problems because I ended up picking up a whole bunch of copper ore. But we'll get it all figured out eventually. That, in the meantime, should do it for that. There's 4 solid lines of copper plates heading into the factory. Dump that ore over here into one of these unused boxes, place some lights around so you can see what I'm doing, and then do some final upgrades of all of the belts over here. It's really difficult to see which belt you have underneath all of that ore. There really should be a way of showing that, perhaps with the advanced information that you get when you press the Alt key. That's the key that shows you everything that, say, in this case, your assemblers are using, and which way your inserters are facing, and all that fun stuff. All of that really useful information. Perhaps there could be an option, at least, to show, to superimpose which kind of belt is underneath all of the stuff clogging up the contents of the belt. I hope I said that in a way that makes sense. Anyway, over here I'm going to double up the production of the advanced circuits now that we've got the system working the way I want it to. And that means putting down a second row up here. And I want to leave that 3 tile space between them in case I want to put down some beacons to help speed up the process a little bit later. I'm going to bring up that second copper line up there into the production area. I may have to move some of the stuff around later so that it's not all as clogged up as it is now. But for the meantime, that seems to be working just fine. Alright, I'm going to bring this up, and this should be the last thing it needs before it starts working. And now it's just a matter of bringing out the output and joining it back in with the output line that I've already got down here. And of course that does mean moving a few things around. And I play around with a few ideas, but ultimately that just kind of looked dumb. So I'll just do it like that instead. And put some lights down so you can see what I'm doing and talking about. Get some more research. That research is really just flying by now with all 16 labs in production. Alright. I'm going to do some balancing over here with these. Because, like I said, one of my dual column furnaces with the 32 furnaces just doesn't quite give you a fully compressed blue belt. So I got to play around a little bit with those. Now I'm going to bring this over and connect it back into the main line. And that should do it right there. I don't really need that belt balancer anymore, or at least it works a little bit better that way. That is all the time we have for today's episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Azrael. Never stop building.